between these two numbers. That's 2 is
Here we go. So record this one. So 18. Says the derivative g prime of a function g is continuous. So it's saying g prime is continuous. G prime is continuous. G prime has 2 zeros. Selected values of g prime are given in the table above. The domain of G is the set of all real numbers. That's nothing special. Almost every problem we work will have that be true. Then G is decreasing on which interval? So come over here. G is decreasing when the derivative of G has negative y coordinates. So they try to trick you by giving you a table. And in the table, you see these as being negative y coordinates. So if you're working too fast, you circle this and you think you've got it right and you move on, but it is the wrong answer. Here's why. You need to have a flashcard that tells you something about tables. You may have made this in this class or not, I don't remember. I just kind of give you cards as we encounter questions. So I would have on one side some sort of table. This is way too big, just a little table to remind you, hey, what am I supposed to be remembering when I see a table? What you should remember is tables only show selected values. They say that, I think, on every single problem that involves a table, but people forget. Tables only show selected values. They don't show what's happening in between. Only show selected values. The second thing you need to remember about a table is you can't find a tangent slope from a table. That actually applies to 32, we looked at a minute ago. On 32, they were asking us which of the functions has a tangent slope of 2 at x equal 3, but it doesn't do us any good to try and find the tangent slope at x equal 3 because we can't from a table. Cannot find a tangent slope from a table. Can find a secant slope. That's what we ended up doing. And they like to test you on how secants are related to tangents. So that's important. So my flashcard for tables tells me only selected values. Can't find a tangent from a table. You can find a secant from a table. So back to 20, whatever it was, 18, that's right. So anyway, what they're trying to hide from you is this. This is the graph of G prime. This is x equal -2, x equal +2. According to the table, there's a y-coordinate here of G prime and a y-coordinate here of G prime. There are only 2 zeros. That means only 2 places where G prime can equal 0. So those are the only 2 places where G prime can equal 0. Questions? Do you need me to restate anything? Please, Britt.
What I don't understand is on A, like, it has the less than or equal to sign. Since it's at 0, when it's like -2 and 2, I just don't understand how it could technically work then, because it's like not 0 with negative.
2 points. So you're like me, you would prefer that the answer would have said this.
Yeah.
Correct? On the written section of the AP test, either answer works.
Okay.
There's a dispute in the mathematical world. When G prime is negative, G is going down.
Yeah.
When G prime is positive, G is going up. So right here, if you're drawing G, you'd have to say G was going up, and now G is going back down. And that point would be x equal -2. Some mathematicians argue that right at the top of the hill, that's where G begins to decrease.
Okay.
Others argue that no, when you're at the top, you're at the top. You're not increasing or decreasing. You only start to decrease when you take one infinitesimal step in that direction, to the right. So they say this is when G is decreasing. Others say no, the top of the hill counts.
Okay.
This is where G is decreasing.
Okay.
And as I think about it, I can kind of convince myself either way. So anyway, so they don't care. Either answer will count. The reason this is wrong is because you're leaving out a whole bunch of points.
I get that.
Yeah,
But on the written part of the test, it doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Either one works.
Okay.
I teach this one because I find it just a bit more logical. So
Yeah.
2 for Bryn. Pretty help. So that's how they fool you on this one. So again, they get you to look at the table instead of thinking, okay, what's going on in between the points that are in the table. You can't ignore those. So. There's another question. I have a video of it already, so we won't do it right now. But 27 is trying to get you to make the same mistake. They're trying to get you to not pay attention to the points that you can't see. If you only pay attention to the points you can see, you mark D as the correct answer, even though E is the correct answer. So that's one good indication that you are ready for the test, is when you can go through a packet like the pink or the practice test and you can say, hey, wait a minute, these problems all use the same concept. And then these problems all use the same concept. That's how you can tell you're thinking conceptually instead of thinking just by memorizing. So, follow-up questions on 18. Cool. Stop. Let's pick another one to talk about.